The late afternoon sun dipped low over the sea, painting the streets in warm gold. The hum of engines, the distant siren wails, and the faint rhythm of a street musician's saxophone filled the air, the soundscape of another ordinary day. A blue sedan rolled smoothly through downtown traffic. Inside sat Derrick Miller, 28, calm and collected, his work shirt still neatly pressed from the office. The tiredness in his eyes told a story of long days and longer patience. He tapped the steering wheel lightly to the radio, soft jazz humming in the background. For a brief moment, the world felt simple again. Then, red and blue lights exploded in his rearview mirror. Derrick's pulse quickened. His hand moved to turn down the radio, silence swallowing the music. He eased the car to the side of the street, the tires crunching softly against the curb. He exhaled, one slow, controlled breath. Both hands went to the steering wheel, 10 and 2, just like his father taught him when he first learned to drive. If they ever pull you over, keep your hands where they can see them. Speak calmly. Don't make sudden moves. Come home safe. Those words replayed now like a prayer. The patrol car door slammed shut. Behind him, loud, sharp, final. Officer Carter approached, his boots striking the asphalt with deliberate weight. Mid-40s, white, his mirrored sunglasses reflected the city skyline, and Derrick's nervous face within it. Even before he spoke, the air between them thickened. License and registration. The words came out curt, controlled, but heavy with authority. Derrick swallowed. Sure, officer. Can I ask what I was stopped for? Carter tilted his head slightly, his hand still resting near his holster. You made a rolling stop at the light back there. Looked suspicious. Derrick frowned slightly, careful not to let frustration seep into his tone. I stopped completely. Maybe it wasn't long enough, but... Carter cut him off sharply. Don't argue, just follow directions. Derrick's muscles tensed, his voice lowered, steady but strained. I'm not arguing, sir. My registration's in the glove box. May I reach for it? For a second, Carter didn't respond. The silence stretched. Then came the nod. Short, stiff. Slowly, Derrick moved like someone stepping through glass. The glove box clicked open, papers rustled. His breathing came shallow. On the sidewalk nearby, a woman slowed her pace, pretending to check her phone, as her eyes darted toward the flashing lights. Two teenagers whispered, glancing between each other and the officer. Cars rolled by. Some drivers stared, some didn't want to look at all. Carter took the papers from Derrick, his expression blank. He scanned them quickly, the reflection of the sun glinting off his sunglasses. You live around here? Yes, sir, Derrick answered quietly. Just a few blocks away. You got any record I should know about? The question hit like a slap. Derrick's fingers tightened on the wheel. No, sir. Carter studied him for a moment longer. Too long. Then, without another word, he turned and walked back toward his cruiser. The silence left behind was louder than the traffic. Derrick watched him in the mirror, the red and blue lights still pulsing against his face. He could see his own reflection in the rear view, the tension in his jaw, the sweat gathering on his forehead, the fear sitting in his throat. Inside that small car, he felt the weight of being seen but not known, judged but not heard. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time had lost its meaning. Finally, the officer returned. He handed over the documents, his tone flat, You're free to go. Next time, pay more attention to your stops." Derrick blinked, trying to keep his tone steady. "Yes, sir." Carter didn't reply. He turned and walked back toward his cruiser again, boots echoing against the pavement. The flashing lights shut off. The car pulled away, and just like that, it was over. But the moment stayed. Derrick let out the breath he hadn't realized he was holding. He glanced down, his hands still gripped the wheel, knuckles white. He whispered under his breath, voice breaking slightly, "Why does this keep happening?" The street noise returned. A car horn blared somewhere far off. Life around him kept moving. But inside the blue sedan, the air still felt heavy, a silence full of questions no one seemed to answer. As Derrick merged back into traffic, the reflection of the lights still lingered faintly on his skin, fading slowly in the mirror, but not from his memory. And as he drove home, the city's golden glow felt dimmer than before. The city was quieting down as the evening glow began to fade. Streetlights blinked awake, one by one, spilling soft amber pools onto the cracked pavement. Somewhere nearby, a siren wailed in the distance, faint but familiar. Evan Brooks, 19, white, stood outside a small convenience store, sipping from a can of soda. His skateboard leaned against the wall beside him, earbuds dangling from his neck. He wasn't the kind to get involved, usually, but today, something felt different. Across the street, that same blue sedan had stopped again, only a few blocks from where Derrick had been pulled over earlier. And there, parked right behind it, was the same police car. Evan frowned, eyes narrowing. Didn't that guy just get stopped? He took a few steps closer, pulling out his phone instinctively. He didn't mean to record, not at first. He just wanted to see. But as soon as he heard the tone in Officer Carter's voice, something in his gut told him to press record. The camera caught the scene from across the street. Carter's posture stiff and towering. Derrick standing by his open car door, hands raised slightly, palms out, confusion written all over his face. Carter's voice cut through the air. "I told you to wait back there." Derrick's reply was calm, almost pleading. "Officer, you already checked my papers. I didn't do anything wrong." "Step away from the car!" Evan's hand trembled slightly as he held his phone higher. The tension in the air was so thick, it felt like the city had stopped breathing. A few bystanders slowed, some taking out their phones too, others frozen in disbelief. Derrick took a step back, voice steady. "Please, sir, I'm just trying to go home." But Carter's tone only grew sharper. "I said step away." For a moment, all you could hear was the low hum of engines and the faint rustle of wind. Then, silence. Carter leaned in closer, saying something too quiet for the camera to catch. Derrick's face tensed, but he didn't move. Evan whispered to himself, "Man, this isn't right." He adjusted the focus, zooming in slightly, his heart pounding faster. His video caught every second. The tone, the body language, the fear. And then, suddenly, another voice broke through. A woman shouted from down the block, "Leave him alone! He didn't do anything!" Heads turned. The spell broke. People began gathering, watching openly now. Carter stepped back, visibly realizing the attention he'd drawn. For a long, heavy moment, no one spoke. Finally, the officer cleared his throat. "You can go," he said sharply, stepping aside. Derrick blinked, uncertain. "Go? Yeah, drive, before I change my mind." Evan kept recording, until Derrick was safely back in his car, driving away, headlights fading into the distance. The police cruiser lingered a moment longer, then pulled off in the opposite direction. Evan lowered his phone, his hands still shaking. He replayed the video once, twice, his chest tight with anger and disbelief. The clip wasn't long, maybe a minute and a half, but it showed enough. The tone, the attitude, the fear. He knew what he had seen, and he knew what others needed to see too. But he hesitated. What if no one believed him? What if posting it caused trouble? He pocketed his phone, exhaling shakily. "No," he whispered. "People need to know." That night, in his small apartment, he uploaded the video, anonymously. He didn't expect it to go viral. By morning, it had. Thousands of comments, shares, news outlets calling it a wake-up moment. And though Officer Carter didn't know it yet, his every word, every gesture, every decision that evening was about to come back to him. Because one young man, with nothing but a phone and a conscience, had refused to look away. Morning sunlight spilled across the quiet apartment as Evan Brooks blinked awake to the buzz of his phone. He rubbed his eyes, still half asleep, until he saw the screen. 500+ notifications, mentions, messages. The headline that froze him in place. Viral video exposes questionable police stop in downtown district. He sat up fast. No way. His heart pounded as he opened the clip. His clip. Millions of views now. News anchors discussing it. Comment sections filled with outrage and disbelief. He hadn't even put his name on it, but somehow people had already found him. Messages flooded in. "Thank you for recording that. You did the right thing. That man could have been hurt. You might have saved him." Evan dropped the phone onto the couch, overwhelmed. He didn't want fame. He just wanted change. Across town, Derrick Miller sat at his kitchen table, a cup of coffee cooling untouched beside him. His phone buzzed too. Friends sending links, coworkers forwarding the same video over and over. When he finally watched it, his throat tightened. There he was, standing beside his car, trying to stay calm, while the officer's voice rose sharper with each second. He hadn't realized how tense his body looked, how visible his fear had been. But what moved him most wasn't himself. It was the voice behind the camera. That calm, steady witness who refused to look away. He exhaled shakily. Whoever that was, thank you. The next few days moved fast. News vans crowded the street where the stop had happened. Protest signs appeared near City Hall. Equal treatment for all. An internal investigation was launched. The police department released a statement calling the incident under review. Behind the scenes, Officer Carter sat in a small office, eyes dark and jaw locked tight, as he faced two investigators across the table. They played the footage on a tablet, the sound echoing in the room. Carter didn't speak for a long time. When he finally did, his voice was low. "I didn't mean for it to go that way." The response was cold but firm. Intent doesn't change what people saw. The department suspended him, pending review. A week later, Derrick was called in to make an official statement. He arrived at the precinct with careful steps, nervous but resolute. Waiting for him in the lobby was someone unexpected. Evan. Jeans, hoodie, skateboard tucked under his arm. His eyes were nervous but kind. Derrick blinked, realizing instantly who he was. "You're the one who recorded that, aren't you?" Evan nodded slightly. "Yeah, I just couldn't walk away." For a moment, The two men simply looked at each other, a quiet understanding passing between them. Then, Derrick extended his hand. "You didn't just record it. You did something right." Evan shook his hand firmly. "We both did." Weeks later, the official report was released. Officer Carter was found guilty of unjustified conduct and stripped of his badge. The department issued an apology to Derrick Miller, not just in private, but on camera.